About this one, Carrie? A good feeling about this one! YouTube, Jim and Jamie here. I'm about to put my crabbing stuff away, and I just wanted to do a quick tutorial. I wanted to do a quick video on how we usually crab. Crabbing is one of our favorite things to do. I take my nephews, my nieces, my kids along, and it's really fun for the whole family. So our crabbing setup is pretty easy. First off, if anybody can't swim, make sure they have a life jacket. Then that takes any kind of, it's just the safest thing to do, and it takes out any kind of concerns about somebody falling off the dock and falling into the water. It's the last thing you want to have happen. Have your normal stuff like sunscreen, wear a hat, take some chairs if you're going to be there for a while. My crabbing setup is pretty simple. I got these two baskets for a couple bucks from Walmart, and it holds all my basket traps. And then I have some box traps here, so I'll show you how I get those working. There's many different ways to crab. We crab mainly three ways: with box traps, with basket traps, and we use hand lines as well. Another good thing to have is some tongs to grab the crabs after you get them in the trap. It's really nice to have a crab net similar to this to scoop the crabs out of the water if you're using hand lines, or if you need to get them from the dock. Okay, oh, one more thing. It's good to have some kind of bait bag. The bait that we usually use are some type of chicken. You can use chicken necks, drumsticks. It's pretty cheap. You can also go to your local bait store and get some bunker and cut it up. It's good to have a knife, a utility knife with you to slice up bait. Okay. So our crabbing setup. It's nice to have these baskets because I just can throw this on top of the roof and strap it down. In here I have about 6 basket traps, which is good for when the whole family comes. Okay, so let me loosen this quick. So I kind of strap it down like this, and then inside you'll see our basket traps. And I just kind of load them all like that, so it's nice and convenient. Okay, so let me get a good example of a basket trap here. So this is a simple basket trap that we use. Here's a piece of driftwood. We kind of anchor it to the dock if we need to, or throw it on the dock. It's a little heavier. So these are really simple. Basically, you'll see a bait clip in there. And all you need to do is put a piece of chicken in here and snap it closed, okay? And then what you do is you just drop this in the water, and the idea is that's going to go onto the bottom, and it'll flatten out, okay? And then you have your chicken there. The crabs will crawl onto the basket and try and eat the chicken. So you can try and wait. If the crabs are really biting, you just have to wait like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. If they're not biting this fast, soak it for 5 minutes, 7 minutes. It's up to you. You can decide. And when you're ready to pull up, you want to pull up really quick. So grab all your slack line, and when you're ready to pull nice and fast. And you're going to pull it up, and then hopefully you have a crab crawling in there. And then you bring it onto the dock, and that's when you can use your tongs to kind of grab that crab out of there and put it in your basket. Feeling about this one, Carrie? A good feeling about this one. Is it?
It looks huge on me.
Holy mackerel! Yes, good job. Let's take a good one, Tyson. Where'd you catch him? Over here? Maybe that's a hot spot. Man.
Yeah, I'm casting. I got 2 for 2, and I got 2 over
Okay,
there.
Kayla. You got it, Kayla?
Yeah, I got 2 over there. That is pretty good.
Good.
I got 2 in a row.
Look at those beautiful blue claws. Okay, let's see.
5?
He's a 5-incher.
Not big enough?
No, he's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Kayla, don't lose him, alright?
I feel like next I'm gonna catch a big one. Because he caught a big one, he was close to me, and I caught two small ones down there. So
Again, I said I got these cheap like laundry baskets. I got them from Walmart for a couple bucks each. I have two of them. One to keep my traps in, and then I have another one that we throw the crabs in. Okay, so you can throw your crabs in there, and all you need to do is cover them from the sun. They like to have some air coming through. You can cover them with a little bit of seaweed or something like that to keep them moist. As long as they're moist and cool, you'll be okay. You don't want to put them in water, because what happens is crabs will take all the oxygen out of the water and drown themselves. So unless you have a bucket with a bubbler, an air bubbler in there, that's okay to put crabs in there. But if you don't have a bubbler, just throw them in here. They can live outside of water for several days, actually, as long as they're moist and cool. So that's my second basket. And this is my gear basket. Okay, trap number 2 is this box trap. I kind of keep it together. We roll up our line and then just use a small bungee cord to keep it together while you're traveling. These take up more space, so we only have 2 of these. You can stack it on the top of your car and strap it down with bungee cords when you're going to the beach or wherever. It's kind of the same idea. Here, inside here, there's a clip. There's a clip in here, and then you can put a piece of chicken through that and clip it down, okay? Same idea. You're gonna just throw it in the water, and once it drops down, these doors will open up, okay? And again, you're hoping for a crab to smell that chicken or that fish, or whatever you use, so crawl in, okay? It's gonna be nibbling on that chicken, and again, if you wanna wait 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever, however long you wait, when you're ready to pull it up, just pull it up quick so those doors snap shut, and then hopefully you have some crabs in there. And then again, you're gonna use your tongs and take them out.
I left mine for a long time.
Fast.
I left mine for a long time. There's no
Woo! A double. Katie, put the 2 fingers up. You got the double.
crabs. Jeez.
What I had.
Feel it. Like even Tyson heard it.
Holla mackerel! Woo! That's a. See, it has a.
Dang it! It's missing a claw.
That's a male. See the point?
See, Tyson heard me. Tyson knows I can call it.
See the point it has? That's a male.
Tyson knows
Female is rounded like this. Male is pointed.
Tyson knows I can.
What's wrong with water? Why can't they be in water?
What they do is they suck all the oxygen out of it, and they drown because that's how they breathe the oxygen in the water.
Suck all the oxygen.
That's a good one for eating. The small one. Crabbing is always fun because there's always an anticipation of there might be something in the trap, and anybody can do it. Even toddlers can do it. Older kids, it's fun for everybody. Okay, now the third method that we use, and don't disregard this method because sometimes it's our most effective method. We actually catch. There have been times when we haven't caught many on our basket traps or our box traps, but with pan lines, we've actually caught more. And some more of a active kind of crabbing, because you can kind of feel for them. So, and it's the cheapest way of crabbing too. All you need is like some kind of bait clip. You can use a big fishing hook or something. Again, you're gonna clip your chicken or your bunker fish or razor clam or whatever on there. Okay, and just drop it down onto the bottom. Okay. Once it gets to the bottom. What I like to do is coming off the dock, I like to leave a little slack in my line, and sometimes the crab, you can tell there's a crab on there, that slack kind of tightens up, okay? Now, when it's down on the bottom and you're up on the dock, you're kind of going to pick up the chicken or the bait off the ground, and you can kind of feel through the line if there's a crab on there. You pick it up. It kind of feels wobbly at the bottom. You can kind of tell if there's a crab crawling on there eating it. So what you do, and this is really fun, you grab a partner. So you grab your partner, so I'm like, hey Katie, grab the net. So she has the net, and I'm going to be pulling it up slowly and slowly. Once it gets about 2 or 3 feet off the surface of the water, you can kind of see the crab. And what Katie's going to do is she's going to scoop deep down below the crab about 2 feet, and then come straight up with the net, and then hopefully she'll catch the crab. This is a lot of fun because it's a tag team kind of crabbing, and a lot of times you'll catch more this way. Yeah, he's on. Curtis, you totally missed him. Why didn't you just wait for me to pull him up? Jeez. He's back on. He's back on. I can't believe you missed. What's that?
That's the dumbest crab.
He's hungry. It's a nice one. You lucky.
Daddy, go!
Cool. Go get it, get it, get it. Yeah, cool. And Karis. So again, these are really cheap and they don't take up much space. So a lot of states, several states, you'll need a crabbing license to crab if you're over 16. But like I know I think in Maryland, if you're over 16, you don't need a crabbing license to use one of these. You would need a crabbing license, which only costs a couple bucks for a week if you're there on vacation. You would need a crabbing license if you're using a box trap or a basket trap. The hand lines in Maryland, I don't believe you'll need a license if you're over 16 to use one of these. But if you do need a license, Maryland's $10 per year. New Jersey, I think it's similar, maybe a couple bucks for a crabbing license. So again, when I'm done, I will put this back together and I'll get my bungee cord and snap that together so it's ready for traveling. Okay, and then basket traps. Here, come back over here. Basket traps I'll stack up again. Basket traps I'll tie up and stack up again. I'll stack them up and then I'll put them back in here. I like to put the hand lines on the bottom. Okay, we're gonna show this inside here. So in there you can see the different hand lines and all. Okay. So I just dropped these. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 basket traps. You can probably fit 10 in there if you wanted to or more. Then I'll just tie this up so they can't come out, and then I'll put them on top of the car. One thing I like to do is when I'm done crabbing and I get back to the house, I'll rinse off all the gear, try and get all the salt off of that because it's corrosive. So just spray everything down if you can. And then I leave it in the sun until it dries. One other thing I wanted to talk about quickly is when to go crabbing. So if you look online, different people say different things. I crab up here in the Northeast around New Jersey and Maryland. A lot of people say online is to crab when there's a moving tide. Okay, so when the tide's moving. So you have high tide and low tide, which I believe, once my comments start working, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but high tide and low tide are kind of like slack tides. Once you get to high tide, the current's not moving much because you're at high tide. Once you get to low tide, it's the same thing. The water's lower and it doesn't move much. But in between high tide and low tide, you have movement. One of the times that we caught the most crabs was on the outgoing tide. So that was about a half an hour after high tide for about an hour or two. We caught a lot of crabs. The current was moving, it was going out back to the ocean, and on their dock we were catching a lot. So I wrote that in my crabbing notes, so you can keep a diary. You can also ask local bait shops or some other crabbers, they might give you some information. So try and do it during a moving tide. So maybe half an hour, in my opinion, maybe half an hour after high tide, or maybe you want to go 3 or 4 hours before high tide until you get up to high tide. You can also try low tide as well. You can try a half an hour after low tide, once the tide starts coming back in, or you can try a couple hours before low tide, once the tide's moving out. So leave, my comments aren't working now, but once they are, so leave some comments about when's the best time to crab for you guys. Again, we crab for blue crabs up here in the Northeast. That's what we're crabbing for. I know it's different on the West Coast sometimes, and when you get down to the Southeast around the warmer waters. But blue crab, a lot of people say blue crab is king and it tastes the best. And a quick recap: make sure you're safe. You have safety for your younger ones, sunscreen and cold drinks and all. So it's hot out. It doesn't become a long day. Make sure you're comfortable. The more comfortable you are, the more fun you have. And I think that's everything. So I hope that helps you. Happy crabbing. Let us know how you do. And it's one of the funnest things, most fun things you can do. It's one of the most fun things you can do with your family and friends. So again, I hope this video helps you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Signing out, Jam and Jamie.
Got that. I got that on camera.
You should keep it like that. You should edit that part out.
You ready?